Have you ever felt like peace is just out of reach, no matter how hard you try to hold on to it? In a world flooded with noise, constant deadlines, and the endless race of comparison, it's easy to believe that our worth is tied to what we chase. But what if the secret to fulfillment isn't about the relentless pursuit of more? What if it's about the art of letting go? Buddhism, with its timeless wisdom, gently reminds us that what is truly meant for you will come, not when you demand it, but when you are ready to receive it. Today, let's explore a profound truth we often overlook. Letting go isn't a sign of weakness, it's a path to wisdom. What are you clinging to right now that might actually be holding you back? In this reflective journey, we'll dive into the power of detachment, discovering why true freedom begins when we stop chasing life and start embracing it. If there's one truth you carry with you from this, let it be this: you don't have to force what is already yours. Stay with us till the end, where a special bonus insight awaits. Surrender is the strength, not defeat. You've been told to chase your dreams, to grind harder, to fight for everything. So you ran. You chased success, love, and a version of yourself that you thought would finally bring fulfillment. But what if the chase is the very thing wearing you out? What if life isn't meant to be hunted, but welcomed? Surrender is strength, not weakness. Picture a river, calm, relentless. It doesn't force its way past rocks. It yields, it bends, and yet it always finds its way. Can you say the same about your life? Buddhist teachings remind us that our deepest suffering doesn't come from what we experience, but from our resistance to it. We grip, we control, we cling. But as one wise monk said, to let go doesn't mean to get rid of. It means to let be. Take the story of a man who lost everything in 1 year: his job, his partner, and his sense of self. No matter how much he tried to fix things, new career paths, constant distractions and affirmations, he only felt more broken. Then one evening, sitting in silence, he whispered, "I don't know anymore." In that moment, peace arrived, not because the world changed, but because he did. Surrender isn't weakness. It's where resistance ends and wisdom begins. When we stop clinging, we start seeing. When we stop forcing, we start flowing. What are you holding on to that's holding you back? Maybe it's an outdated idea of success, a relationship that's ended but still holds your peace hostage, or an identity shaped by others' expectations. Letting go doesn't mean losing. It means finally allowing the truth to breathe. Buddhism isn't asking you to abandon your goals, your ambition. It's simply inviting you to stop tying your happiness to the outcome. True freedom is not about controlling life. It's about aligning with it. The more you stop fighting against the flow, the more life will carry you exactly where you were always meant to be. Pause. Breathe. Let go of needing everything to make sense right now. Your clarity isn't lost. It's just buried under the fear of not being in control. Can you trust that life knows the way better than your fear does? Here's a challenge for you. Try 1 day this week without chasing, without forcing productivity, love, or perfection. Just be. Let life meet you where you are, because you cannot grow spiritually unless you're willing to let go. And sometimes, the moment you stop chasing, life catches you. Presence is the only reality. You're running after a better job, the perfect partner, the future that will finally bring peace. But with each step, you feel emptier. The more you chase life, the more it slips through your fingers, like trying to hold sunlight in your hands. You miss it by trying to grasp it. Buddhism teaches that the past is gone, the future isn't here yet, and only this moment is real. But most of us aren't truly living in this moment. We're stuck thinking about the next, regretting the last, but rarely arriving fully where we are. You don't need a better life. You need a clearer presence. Take the story of a young woman battling anxiety, unsure of her career path, grappling with a broken relationship, and questioning her worth. She obsessed over what she should have done, and constantly worried about where she was headed. But nothing shifted until one afternoon, under a tree, she closed her eyes and simply listened. The wind, the birds, her own breath. For the first time in months, she felt truly alive. Not because her problems disappeared, but because she stopped abandoning the only place life could ever reach her. The present moment is like sunlight, warm, healing, and alive. In the end, the most powerful thing you can do is stop chasing and start living. Peace, fulfillment, and clarity are already waiting for you. They've been here all along. When you live in the shadows of memory or fear, you miss the glow of life itself. You miss the present moment, the only place where joy can truly unfold. Every breath you take isn't a countdown to the future. It's an invitation home. So ask yourself, are you living in your thoughts, or are you truly experiencing your life? How many precious moments have you missed because you were too focused on imagining a better one? You may be struggling with questions of identity, loss, or uncertainty about who you are becoming. And that's okay. But the answer doesn't live in the next achievement, the next milestone, or the next better version of yourself. It lives in this very second, where your breath is steady, your body is grounded, and your spirit is quietly asking to be heard. Stop thinking that peace is somewhere else. What if this moment, right here, was enough? The Buddha once said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." Not because the past and future aren't important, but because they aren't real. Not yet, and not anymore. The only place you can truly touch your life is right here, in the now. Here's your challenge for today. Return to presence. Whether you're brushing your teeth, walking outside, or engaging in conversation, be in it. Let life touch you. No more rushing past it, no more waiting for someday. The peace you're chasing is not ahead of you. It's underneath your distractions, patiently waiting in the stillness. You don't find life by chasing it. You find it by being awake to it. Because when you finally arrive in the present, you realize you were never really lost. Your thoughts are not you. You've been living inside a storm, thinking the thunder is you, believing the rain will never stop. But what if you're not the storm at all? What if you're the sky, vast, open, untouched by whatever passes through? You are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them. From a young age, we grow up believing that our mind is who we are. If we think it, it must be true. I'm a failure. No one will love me. I'm not doing enough. But the Buddha taught, observe your mind without becoming the mind. Just because a thought visits you, it doesn't mean it owns you. Most people don't suffer because of life itself. They suffer because they believe everything their mind says about it. Take the example of a man navigating heartbreak, consumed by the thought that he was too broken to be loved again. That thought followed him everywhere until one evening he sat in meditation. He didn't try to fix it, didn't argue with it. He simply observed it. Slowly, the thought passed, like a cloud fading into the distance. In that stillness, he realized the thought wasn't the problem. His attachment to it was. Your mind will generate storms, but the sky is never disturbed by the clouds passing through it. You are not the noise. You are the awareness behind it. Right now, pause and ask yourself, Which thoughts do you mistake for reality? Maybe it's, I'm not good enough, or I'll never figure this out. But remember, thoughts are not facts. They're patterns, echoes, habits of the mind. When you observe them without attaching to them, you reclaim your power. You may be going through a career change, a breakup, or feeling overwhelmed by expectations you can't seem to meet. Your thoughts may be screaming all the wrong things. But here's the shift. What if you didn't need to believe everything you think? What would change if you saw your thoughts as passing noise, not your identity? The more you observe the mind, the less grip it has over you. That's the power of mindfulness. Not to stop the thoughts, but to stop believing them so blindly. In Buddhism, this practice is freedom, not because the storm disappears, but because you remember that you are the sky. Here's your invitation. The next time your mind tells you a story, pause. Breathe, watch. Say silently, a thought. That alone creates space. And in that space, peace lives. Your thoughts are just guests. Let them visit, but don't serve them tea, and let them rule your house. When you stop identifying with the mind, you return to something deeper. Your stillness, your truth, your peace. You don't need to chase control. You just need to watch without grasping. And in that sacred silence, life begins to speak. You are not the storm, you are the sky. Acceptance transforms pain into peace. You're trying to heal, but everything inside you is screaming, make this go away. The heartbreak, the failure, the uncertainty. You want it fixed fast. But what if the way out isn't escape? What if the true path is through? Buddhism teaches us that what you resist persists. What you accept transforms. This isn't just philosophy, it's the survival of the soul. Imagine pain like fire. If you touch it while fighting it, it burns you. But if you step closer with openness, it becomes warmth, maybe even light. You stop being its victim and become its witness. But this transformation only happens when you stop demanding your suffering to vanish and start allowing it to speak. Most people don't need the pain to go away. They need to stop making it wrong. There was once a student who lost everything. His relationship ended, his job disappeared, and his sense of purpose shattered. For months, he resisted it all. He numbed the pain, avoided stillness, searched for anything to pull him out of the darkness. But nothing worked. Then one night, he sat on the floor, exhausted. No more fixing, no more trying, just silence. And for the first time, he allowed himself to truly be with his pain. In that moment, the very thing he had been fighting began to transform. The pain was no longer something to escape. It became something to witness, and in that witnessing, peace began to emerge. He whispered, I hurt, and maybe that's okay. That moment didn't solve his problems, but it softened them. In accepting his pain, he stopped being defined by it. Ask yourself right now, can you sit with what hurts without trying to change it? Most of our suffering doesn't come from the pain itself. It comes from the war we wage against it. We're taught to push pain away, to cover it up, to medicate, to ignore it. But in doing so, we lock it deeper inside. What we reject grows in the dark. In Buddhist practice, we don't cure pain. We hold it with awareness. You don't have to like it. You just have to stop running from it. That's when something sacred happens. Your pain becomes your teacher, not your enemy. It becomes your guide. So many of you are in transition, trying to become someone new, to move past heartbreak, to find clarity in the chaos. But maybe instead of asking, how do I fix this? Try asking, can I allow this? What would it feel like to say yes to life exactly as it is? That yes doesn't mean passive surrender. It means meeting reality without resistance. Peace doesn't come when life is perfect. It comes when you stop demanding that it should be. Your reflection. The next time you feel emotional pain, pause. Don't suppress it. Don't analyze it. Just notice it, feel it, honor it. Gently say to yourself, this too is part of being alive. You'll find that pain loses its grip when it's no longer fighting for your attention. Stop chasing peace by running from pain. Start allowing it, and peace will find you. Because healing doesn't begin when the pain ends. It begins when the resistance does. Impermanence is your liberation. You hold on because you think it will last. The love, the success, the version of yourself that you've finally begun to like. But life has other plans, and when change knocks at your door, it doesn't ask for permission, it enters. What you once called forever becomes memory. The harder you cling, the more it hurts. But Buddhism offers a different lens. Everything that arises will also pass away. This isn't tragedy, it's truth. And within that truth lies freedom. Imagine building a sand castle on the shore. It's beautiful, detailed, a reflection of your effort. But the tide is coming. No matter how high the walls, the waves will reach them. Most people scream at the water. They panic. They dig trenches to protect what must go. But some sit back, watch the ocean rise, and smile because they knew the beauty wasn't in keeping it. It was in experiencing it fully before the sea returned. Impermanence is not your enemy. It's your liberation. You suffer because you grasp at people, roles, and ideas, at how things should stay. But nothing in nature clings. The seasons don't resist the cold. Trees don't beg their leaves to stay, and yet we panic at the first sign of loss. But what if letting go isn't failure? What if it's the way forward? There was once a man who built his identity around his job. It gave him purpose, pride, and structure. But when he lost it, his world collapsed. He didn't just lose a paycheck, he lost himself. For weeks he spiraled, trying to rebuild the past. Then one morning he sat quietly, and a single thought came. Maybe who I was isn't who I need to become. That's when something shifted, not outside of him, but within. He didn't force a new path. He opened to it. Ask yourself now, what are you holding on to that time is trying to release from you? A past relationship, an outdated version of who you think you should be, a belief that your worth is tied to what stays. When you accept that everything changes, you begin to cherish things not because they'll last, but because they won't. That kiss, that laugh, that moment of peace amidst the chaos, they become sacred, not permanent. And in that sacredness, life reveals its softness. Letting go doesn't mean losing. It means allowing life to evolve. And the truth is, it always will. Nothing lasts forever. Not your joy, not your pain, not even the storm you're in right now. Everything passes, and that's not sad. That's what makes this moment worth living. Could letting go actually be the path to relief, not loss? Here's your challenge. The next time life asks you to release something, pause. Instead of gripping tighter, then breathe. Bow to the tide. Watch. What happens when you stop resisting the flow? All things are like sand castles, beautiful, but not meant to last. And when you stop chasing what's fading, you make room for what's rising. Stillness is where power awakens. You've been running, chasing answers, approval, a future that never seems to arrive. You scroll, strive, and schedule every minute, believing that the next achievement will quiet the noise. But deep down, you know it hasn't, and it won't, because the peace you're chasing on the outside is already waiting for you on the inside. Buddhism whispers, in the silence of the heart, wisdom speaks. But most people never hear it because their inner noise drowns out the wisdom within. Imagine a lake. When it's agitated, it reflects nothing. But when it's still, it becomes a perfect mirror. The sky, the mountains, even the stars, all become visible when the water stops moving. Your mind is no different. Your anxiety, doubts, and overthinking aren't flaws. They're ripples, and they calm not through more effort, but through stillness. A young woman once came to a monk, desperate for clarity. Her relationship had ended. Her job felt meaningless. She asked, "What should I do?" The monk replied, "Go sit by the river. Don't move, just breathe." She protested, "But I need direction." He smiled. That is direction. Frustrated but curious, she did as he said. Day after day, she sat. At first it felt like wasting time, but then something shifted. Her mind quieted, her heart opened. In the silence, she heard something unexpected, not a voice but a knowing. She didn't need to chase clarity. It found her when she stopped. Ask yourself, when was the last time you sat in silence? Not searching for anything. No phone, no music, no to-do list. Just presence. You see, the modern world glorifies movement, hustle, progress, and productivity. But spiritual power, the kind that changes lives, comes from stillness. That's where truth reveals itself. Not when you push harder, but when you pause. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing one thing fully. Drinking tea without rushing, walking without hurrying, breathing without distraction. It's in these simple moments that your nervous system resets, and your intuition, buried under the noise, starts to whisper again. You don't need another breakthrough. You need a breath. You need to stop trying to fix your life long enough to feel it, to listen to it. Because wisdom isn't something you acquire. It's something you remember when everything else becomes quiet. What clarity might arise if you paused instead of pushed? Try it. Set aside 5 minutes today. No goal, no technique. Just sit. Be. Listen. You might hear fear or boredom. That's okay. Don't resist it. Let it pass. Eventually, something deeper will emerge. Stillness is where healing begins, where decisions become effortless, where truth comes uninvited. Like a calm lake reflects the sky, a still mind reflects truth. And when you stop chasing life from the outside, you start receiving life from within. Detach from outcome, stay devoted to action. You plan, you work, you pour yourself into every detail, hoping it will finally bring the result you crave, the promotion, the recognition, the relationship. And yet the more you attach yourself to the outcome, the more anxious you become. You lie awake thinking, what if it doesn't happen? What if I fail? But Buddhism teaches something radically freeing. Act without attachment to the result. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You become like the archer who steadies his breath, aims with full presence, and releases the arrow, not knowing where the wind may take it. There was once a man who desperately wanted to be a writer. He woke up early every day, wrote thousands of words, and sent out manuscript after manuscript. But rejection followed rejection. With every no, he sank deeper into despair. He began to believe he wasn't good enough. Then one evening, after yet another unanswered submission, he asked himself, what if writing itself was the reward? What if I stopped measuring my worth by the outcome? That night, he wrote, not to be published, but because he loved the craft. Something shifted. He didn't get success immediately, but he found peace. And eventually, the world noticed. When you act with attachment, you chain yourself to something you can't control. But when you act with devotion, you liberate your soul. Ask yourself now, Are you doing this for the result or for the purpose itself? Is your job meaningful because of the title, or because it allows you to grow, serve, and create? Is your relationship valuable only when it lasts, or because it taught you something deeper about love? Buddhism reminds us that clinging is the root of suffering. When you need things to go a certain way, you become a prisoner to outcomes. But detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means trust. It means showing up with a full heart, giving your best effort, and then letting life respond in its own way. Not every seed you plant will bloom, but that doesn't make the planting meaningless. What would happen if you believed that your effort, your sincerity, was already enough? The truth is, you can't control the wind, but you can control your aim. You can choose devotion over desperation. You can choose purpose over perfection. Let go of the obsession with results. Success will come, or it won't. But what matters most is the quality of your intention. When your energy is pure, your actions become a meditation. Even if the world doesn't reward you instantly, your soul will feel the difference. So, take the shot, send the message, start the project, love fully, work deeply, and when you're done, breathe and release. Because freedom isn't in the outcome. The archer releases the arrow, but cannot control the wind. And when you stop needing life to go your way, you discover that life flows in ways better than you imagined. You are already whole. You keep reaching for love, for success, for someone or something to prove that you are enough. You tell yourself, once I get there, I'll feel whole. But the truth is, the chase never ends because you're running towards something that's already inside you. Buddhism reminds us that what you are looking for is already where you are looking from. Like a candle chasing the sun to feel bright, we forget that we were already lit, already worthy, already complete. The world just convinced you otherwise. Think about it. From childhood, you are taught to earn approval, not awareness. You are told to be more, do more, achieve more. And only then they said, would you be enough? So you put on masks, you play roles, and you work yourself into exhaustion, chasing a version of yourself you think will finally be lovable. But underneath all of that striving, someone quietly asks, am I not already enough? A monk once gave a student a cup filled to the brim and began pouring more tea. It overflowed, and the student cried out, "Stop, it's already full." The monk smiled and said, "Exactly. So is your life. But you keep pouring in expectations, comparisons, and stories that were never yours to realize your wholeness. You don't need to add anything. You need to see what's been buried under the noise is still there. Peace, wisdom, love. It was never lost. It was only forgotten. Ask yourself gently, are you trying to become something, or are you remembering who you already are? Wholeness isn't perfection, it's presence. It's looking in the mirror without the voice of self-judgment. It's living without asking permission to take up space. It's choosing to stop fixing yourself and start honoring yourself. This doesn't mean you won't grow. It means your growth will come from love, not lack. When you believe you're already enough, your actions become authentic. You create because it fulfills you, not because you need to impress. You love because your heart is full, not because you're desperate to be chosen. What if nothing is missing from you, just hidden beneath layers of noise? The rush, the pressure, the comparisons. They aren't who you are. They're just static. And when you sit in stillness, when you listen instead of search, you start to remember. You are the light, not the seeker of light. So stop chasing a version of yourself you think the world will finally approve of. Come home to the quiet, unshakable truth. You were never broken, you were never behind, and nothing outside of you can define the worth that already lives within. A candle doesn't chase the sun to shine, it lights from within. And the moment you realize this, you stop chasing life, and life begins to flow through you. Drop the identity, embrace the essence you've held on to, a name, a title, a story so tightly that it feels like who you are. You say, I'm the achiever. I'm the broken one. I'm the one who was left. And you believe it because you've repeated it for years. But what if the truth is that you are none of that? Not your resume, not your trauma, not your mistakes. Buddhist wisdom whispers, you are not a role, a thought, or a name. You are awareness itself. Like the ocean doesn't cling to one wave and call it the whole sea, you are far more than the surface story you've told yourself. There was once a sculptor who carved a magnificent statue of a lion from stone. When people asked him how he did it, he replied, I simply removed everything that wasn't the lion. That's what awakening feels like. Not adding more, but peeling away what was never truly you. You are not born as a broken identity. You are born as pure presence, whole and complete. But life handed you roles, masks, and expectations. Student, professional, victim, hero, failure, and one by one, you began to believe them. You forgot your essence under the weight of your image. Ask yourself, what labels are you attached to that limit your growth? Maybe it's, I'm not disciplined, or I always ruin relationships, or I'm just not good enough. These aren't facts, they're inherited beliefs, and as long as you defend them, they will continue to define you. Buddhism teaches that what you cling to becomes your suffering. So what if you let go? What if even just for a moment, you stopped identifying with your pain and started identifying with the space in which all of life happens, peacefully, without needing a name? You see, your job can be taken, your relationships can shift, even your personality can evolve. But what remains constant is the awareness behind it all. That's the real you, not the wave, but the ocean, not the costume, but the consciousness wearing it. When you realize this, you stop needing to prove anything. You stop chasing an image. You start living from your center, not your shell. This doesn't mean you erase your past. It means you stop being imprisoned by it. You can still love, build, and evolve. But you do it from freedom, not fear. You show up not as someone trying to become something, but as someone remembering they already are. Who are you without your story? Not empty, but infinite. Not lost, but spacious. The moment you drop the identity is the moment you begin to feel free. Not because you found yourself, but because you stopped being someone you're not. The ocean doesn't cling to the wave. It moves with all of it, wild, peaceful, whole. Let this be your reminder. You are not a title to live up to. You are the awareness that sees it all, holds it all, and is free in all of it. Drop the mask. Embrace the essence. That's where life finally finds you. The less you need, the more you are. There's a story about a wise monk who once stood before a group of eager students. They asked him, Master, what is the secret to true happiness? The monk looked at them, smiled softly, and replied, The less you need, the more you are. The students were puzzled. How could having less lead to more? But the answer, hidden in simplicity, is a life-altering truth. Think about it. We chase success, recognition, and possessions, believing that with each new achievement, we'll find happiness. We believe that the more we acquire, the more complete we will become. Yet despite all the things we think we need, why does something still feel missing? We've accumulated the accolades, the status, the material things. But inside, we feel restless. The truth is, you already have everything you need. Abundance isn't about accumulating more. It's about realizing the wealth within. Consider the metaphor of a tree. It doesn't beg the sky for sunlight. It simply stands still, rooted in the earth, and receives. The tree doesn't chase after the rays of the sun. It accepts them as they are, in the moment. Similarly, when you stop chasing the world's endless demands, you start receiving the quiet beauty of what already is. The sky gives, but only when the tree stands still. You too will find joy and peace when you stop chasing after more. Think for a moment, what cravings are making you restless instead of fulfilled? Maybe it's the craving for validation, for the approval of others, for the next big promotion, or the next relationship. What if these cravings are simply distractions, keeping you from the quiet contentment of simply being? The more you attach your happiness to external achievements or possessions, the less you experience the fullness of your own life. You are already rich with the moments that unfold in front of you, if only you allowed yourself to see it. This principle isn't about settling for less. It's about realizing that in simplicity, you find abundance. True contentment doesn't come from having more. It comes from needing less. The moment you let go of the insatiable desire to fill the void, you discover that the void was never empty. It was always full. You'll discover that the space was never empty. It was just waiting to be filled with peace, clarity, and joy. Joy that isn't dependent on the outside world. What if simplicity was the doorway to your greatest joy? Imagine waking up tomorrow and feeling deeply content with what you have, not because you've achieved everything you wanted, but because you no longer need anything outside of yourself to feel complete. In that simplicity, you will find peace. You'll find joy. You'll find connection. You are not defined by what you have or don't have. True wealth comes from the recognition that the more you need, the less you actually are. The less you crave, the more you realize that everything you've been searching for has been inside you all along. Stop chasing life. It will find you when you let go of the need to control it. In that letting go, you will find your truest, most abundant self. Uncertainty is not the enemy. It's the teacher. There's a story about a farmer who planted a seed, buried deep in the soil. For weeks, the seed remained unseen, hidden in darkness. The farmer couldn't see it growing. He couldn't measure its progress, but he trusted the process. He didn't demand answers. He simply waited. And eventually, from that darkness, a sprout emerged. It was in the uncertainty of the seed's hidden growth that its true potential was realized. We live in a world that demands certainty. We seek answers for every question, solutions for every problem, plans for every step. The pressure to know what comes next can overwhelm us, especially when life feels unpredictable. Breakups, career struggles, and identity shifts throw us into a world of uncertainty, and we instinctively search for answers, a clear path. But what if this uncertainty is not our enemy, but our greatest teacher? Think about it. What would happen if you welcomed mystery instead of fearing it? What if instead of clinging to the need for answers, you embraced the unknown as fertile ground for your personal growth? When we try to control everything, we block the wisdom that arises in spaces we can't yet see. It's in those moments of uncertainty that we are most likely to evolve, to discover new strengths, and to uncover hidden potential. Uncertainty is the soil in which transformation happens. It's the seed that, when planted, grows into something beautiful, even though we cannot see it unfolding. We may not always understand where life is leading us, but that doesn't mean it's not leading us somewhere good. Just as the seed needs darkness to grow, we too need times of uncertainty to cultivate new perspectives and strengths. So instead of running from the unknown, what if you trusted it? Can you sit with the discomfort of not knowing? And instead of pushing it away, allow it to shape you. Can you trust without knowing what comes next? The Buddhists believe that not knowing is closest to the truth, and often the more we grasp for certainty, the further we move away from true wisdom. When you embrace uncertainty, you begin to find peace in the mystery of life. Life isn't a straight path. It's winding, unpredictable, and full of twists. But every moment in that uncertainty holds the potential for growth, discovery, and profound insight. You don't need to control everything. You don't need to have the answers right now. What if, instead of fearing what's next, you simply trusted that everything is unfolding as it should? You might find that the unknown holds the most beautiful possibilities waiting to emerge. When you allow them to, when you let go of the need for certainty, you invite clarity and peace into your life. So let the seed of uncertainty take root. Let it nourish you. And when it does, you'll realize that the answers you seek aren't found in control. They are found in letting go and trusting the process. Bonus lesson: compassion begins within. There was once a man who spent years traveling the world, searching for the secret to true peace. He sought wisdom from every teacher, read countless books, and practiced numerous rituals, hoping to find the key to happiness. But no matter how much he searched, he always felt empty, as if something was missing. One day, exhausted and disheartened, he sat under a tree, ready to give up on his search. As he sat quietly, he realized that the key to peace wasn't something to be found outside of himself. It was something that had always been inside him, waiting to be acknowledged. This is the essence of compassion, a lesson that too often we overlook. We go through life constantly giving to others our time, energy, love, and patience, without first nurturing ourselves. We believe that in order to be good to others, we must be selfless. But this self-sacrifice can leave us drained. The truth, however, is that compassion begins within. You cannot pour from an empty cup. To truly give, you must first fill your own cup. Compassion isn't about sacrificing yourself for others. It's about nurturing your own well-being so that you can give from a place of fullness. When you take the time to care for your own heart, your love and kindness become limitless because you are giving from the abundance within you. If you want to be the best version of yourself, the person who can show up for others in their times of need, you must first show up for yourself. Think about it. Do you treat yourself with the same gentleness you offer others? When was the last time you showed yourself the same kindness you freely extend to a friend or loved one? It's easy to be patient with others, to forgive their mistakes, and to encourage them when they fall short. But when it comes to yourself, do you offer the same compassion? More often than not, we are our harshest critics, holding ourselves to impossible standards. We carry the weight of our failures and missteps as if they define us. But what if you could forgive yourself as easily as you forgive a friend? Self-compassion is not weakness. It is the very foundation for strength, growth, and healing. The Buddhists believe that in order to cultivate true compassion for others, we must first learn to love ourselves. not in an egotistical way, but in a nurturing, kind, and patient way. It's about accepting your imperfections, embracing your vulnerabilities, and giving yourself permission to grow at your own pace. When you do this, you fill your own cup, and in turn, you have more to give. Imagine how different your life would be if you could let go of harsh self-judgment and replace it with understanding. What if you forgave yourself for every mistake, treated yourself as you would treat your best friend, and allowed yourself the grace to simply be human? You would find that the peace you've been searching for isn't something external at all. It's already within you. The practice of self-compassion creates space for you to heal. It allows you to shed the layers of self-doubt and criticism that hold you back from fully living. It invites you to embrace who you are in all your beautiful imperfection. And when you do this, something magical happens. You stop chasing life. It finds you exactly as it is meant to. You no longer have to strive for approval or validation, because you already know that you are enough. So fill your cup first. Be kind to yourself, and watch how everything else falls into place. Surrender is strength, not defeat. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting life's intelligence beyond your ego. The more you resist, the more pain you create. Surrender allows life to move freely through you, opening doors you couldn't force open. This is where true inner power begins. Presence is the only reality. Everything meaningful happens in the now. Regret comes from the past, anxiety from the future, but peace only exists here and now. Practicing presence reconnects you with clarity, calm, and deep inner stillness. Life is happening now. Don't miss it. Your thoughts are not you. Most suffering is mental noise. When you learn to observe your thoughts without identifying with them, you break the cycle of stress and reactivity. Freedom lies in awareness, not analysis. You are the sky, not the storm. Acceptance transforms pain into peace. The root of emotional suffering is resistance. The moment you fully accept what is, pain begins to soften and transform. Acceptance is not weakness. It's the gateway to healing, peace, and inner strength. Impermanence is your liberation. Nothing lasts. Joy, sorrow, success, failure. When you embrace change as the nature of life, you stop clinging and start flowing. This understanding brings deep peace and reduces fear. What arises will pass. Stillness is where power awakens. In the silence beneath thought and noise, you rediscover clarity and truth. Instead of chasing distractions, allow moments of stillness each day. From this quiet space, your deepest wisdom emerges effortlessly. Detach from outcome, stay devoted to action. Do your best and let go of the rest. Attachment creates anxiety. Devotion to the process brings calm and joy. Trust the journey without needing to control the result. Let go of chasing. Focus on showing up. You are already whole. You don't need external validation to feel enough. Everything you seek, peace, love, power, is already within you. True fulfillment comes from remembering your wholeness, not achieving something more. Drop the identity, embrace the essence. You're not your roles, achievements, or failures. Beyond labels and stories lies your pure awareness, unchanging, whole, and free. When you stop clinging to who you think you are, you return to who you truly are. The less you need, the more you are. Simplicity leads to freedom. When you stop chasing more things, more status, you find contentment in being. Needing less reveals the fullness of life already around and within you. Uncertainty is not the enemy. Embrace the unknown. It holds the potential for growth, discovery, and profound insight. Trust that everything is unfolding as it should. Let go of the need for certainty and invite clarity and peace into your life. Uncertainty is the teacher, not knowing is a part of life's mystery. Rather than fearing the unknown, sit with it and grow through it. The seed of your next transformation often lies in uncertainty. Trust what you don't yet understand. Compassion begins. Within your relationship with yourself sets the tone for everything else. True peace starts with inner kindness. When you treat yourself with compassion, your outer world begins to reflect that same energy of peace and love. In a world that constantly tells us to hustle, chase, and control, the greatest act of courage is often letting go, not out of weakness, but from a deeper strength that arises when you stop fighting life and begin to trust its rhythm. When you stop chasing life, you finally meet it right here. Where peace lives, you are not broken. The truth is, you don't have to become more, do more, or fix everything to be whole. You are not broken. You are simply buried beneath the noise of striving. Underneath it lies your natural clarity, joy, and strength. Buddhist wisdom invites you to come home to yourself, not through effort, but through awareness. Letting go is not the end of ambition. It is the beginning of wisdom. You still act, but you act without fear. You still grow, but from love, not lack. Real power lies in flowing. Real power is not in grasping. It is in flowing, choosing stillness when needed, and being in harmony with life. Remember, it's not the world that needs to change first. It's your mind. As the Zen saying goes, when the mind is still, the whole universe surrenders. This is not theory. This is transformation. Your life begins not when you chase it, but when you meet it in the moment. At the end of this journey, remember to like and share this video. Share your thoughts in the comment box, and don't forget to subscribe to Insightful Journey for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful life.